I had just never my wildest dreams think I'd ever be sitting talking to you because, you know, some of the greatest, fondest memories of childhood or growing up is sitting at the Sunday paper, reading the funny papers and so forth. But I always had this image in my mind. I'm like, this guy's got the easiest job in the world. He watches his cat and he just draws. Tell me that, you know, I mean, is that how it all started? Is that all?
Actually, I grew up on a farm drawing cats. I did. I was asthmatic as a kid. I couldn't go outside and work much, so I drew to entertain myself. And my drawing was awful, so I had to letter everything. So I got me in the habit of putting words with pictures, and it grew from there. And honestly, it is almost as easy as it sounds, because Garfield writes his own material. After all these years, I've created this kind of monster in my head, and I sit back, I put him in a situation, and then I watch him. And when he does something funny, I back up 3 frames, cut it off, and I have a strip.
Now, you said your drawing was horrible. How did you get good, or did you know?
Chuck Jones, the great animator for the Roadrunner series, said every artist has 100,000 bad drawings in him. The sooner you get the 100,000 out of the way, every drawing's good. So I love to draw. So to me, it's a skill. The more you draw, the better you get.
Yeah. So is that something that you can do, like whisk one out real quick, or is it something that, you know, or do you just sketch it and then have to fill it in, or?
Anymore with Garfield, it's like a signature. Yeah, I can draw it. You see them in your head, and you draw them with your hand. You know.
What are people's biggest expectations of when they meet you? What do they say? Oh, do you have a cat? Or
they expect me to be funny on the spot. I get all day to think of one funny thought.
Right.
So people, they look at me and go, hey, say something funny. You know, and I'm going, I'm toast. But so I guess it's because it's all very introspective, doing the comic strip. So it's a very quiet kind of work, but the end product is funny. So I think that's the big thing they expect from cartoonists. If we were actually funnier on the spot, we wouldn't be cartooning, we'd be stand-up comics.
Right. No, but let me ask you this, though. So have you ever gotten, like, writer's block where you're late for your deadline, or did you always have, like, a dozen of them in the works?
If I have, like, a writer's block, if not really in a funny mood, I just don't write. I wait for the funny days. And on the funny days, I can write a lot of material. So you kind of wait. It's kind of an energy thing. And once they start coming out, then they start rolling out. So I've never had trouble with deadline because I try to work a little bit further ahead to, you know, in case of like a disaster, you know, so I can get sick and still have that luxury of being ahead of deadline.
I had also one memory comes into mind. I remember because I thought I'm gonna write my own strip because, you know, hey, if you know I can do a Garfield. And I remember watching the pen all day. The dog did nothing, just laid there, didn't move at all. And I'm thinking I can never. And then I remember the next strip I got. There was one strip and it was just Garfield did not move or whatever. And then there was one little punchline at the end. I'm like, brilliant.
I actually had him sleep through an entire Monday and wake up on a Tuesday. So you had to read the strip the second day to get the gag. But you're right. That's the humor. They don't do much of anything, and that's what I built Garfield's whole career on.
Yeah, and then now we have, of course, a movie. It's a second movie, and I'll have to be honest with you, this is a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It's very fun, and it's cute and all that. I didn't like the first one. Wasn't a big deal with me. I, you know, took the nephews. I'm like, I didn't have to. And when I heard about the second one, and then I was just really surprised. What was your first expectation of the first one? I mean,
the first one was to be true to Garfield. Build the Garfield background, you know, introduce everybody to him, you know, do some gags, things like that, and we're really pleased with it. And then the second one now, based on that first one, now we were able to springboard into some, you know, new territory for Garfield and really test his mettle this time.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed it.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.